Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar today. We are so delighted to have you join us. The webinar today is regarding UEL Psychology 27 questions about our No1 program. We have an amazing set of presenters here for you today. So we are joined by Sonia Dineva, who is the business psychologist and lecturer at UEL. She's the one waving over there. And then we have Caitlin Barnia, who is our International Recruitment Officer for North America. I'm sure a lot of you on the line will be very familiar with Caitlin as your go-to girl. Before I commence the presentation and pass you over to Sonia and Caitlin, I just want to go through a bit of housekeeping. Firstly, you should all be able to see on your portal that you have a question and chat function. And that will allow you to ask any questions during the presentation. So we really encourage you at any point, if something seems super interesting or if you want more information, pop a question in the chat. And at the very end, we'll go through as many questions as we're able to, and we'll post them to Caitlin and Sonia. So without further ado, before that, if you could just pop in the question panel that you can hear us, that will just allow us to know that our tech is all working a-okay. So without further ado, I will pass you over to Sonia, who will commence the presentation. Thank you very much, Sonia.
Thank you very much, Annabelle. And hello, everyone. Can you all see my screen? I hope yes.
Yes, I think we see it.
Lovely. Thank you very much for this. I want to tell you that I'm really excited to do this today. I tend to speak too much, but I'll try to be short. And but I just want to share my enthusiasm with you guys. I'm a lecturer at UEL in the School of Psychology, and what I teach is business psychology. So this is something incredibly interesting, but I'll tell you more about it a bit later. And before I tell you about my experience, because instead, apart from being a UEL lecturer, I'm also a UEL graduate. So I've been on both sides and I know what it feels like to study at UEL. But before I start, I just want to tell you very briefly why I'm so proud to be a graduate from the School of Psychology at UEL and a lecturer there. So as you can see on the slides, our school is one of the largest in the UK. And we have so many different students and staff. They come from all over the world. And it feels amazing. There are different cultures. There are different, personalities. We accept everyone and everyone is welcome, which feels great to be so different and to be well accepted. We have the best location ever. I don't know if any of you have been to East London, but when I came here, I was fascinated. It's a vibrant place. There are so many different opportunities and everything is so dynamic. That is definitely the best location ever. And probably this is something that everyone will tell you. We have long traditions in teaching. Our history of the School of Psychology goes back more than half a century, which is a lot. But everyone says that, we have a long history, we are great teachers. Everyone will tell you that. So I'll prove it to you a bit later. We are focused on innovations and quality. So this is what we do all the time. And I've put some statistics here, which I think is pretty impressive. So UEL was ranked 57th globally and second in the UK on quality education. This was the most recent ranking by the Times. And we are all so proud to be a part of this. And we also have world-class research and facilities. We have, I don't know whether you've seen the website, but we have so many different labs with pieces of equipment that I don't know what it serves for, but it feels great to be a part of this. We are #1 in the UK for impact of research. according to the latest REF, which is Research Excellence Framework. And we are so proud to be a part of that. And finally, we are, and I say this with putting my heart on my hand on my heart, we are number one in terms of careers. And I'll tell you why. Because we care about our students. We care not only about transmitting knowledge to them, but we care about their progress in their careers, in their lives. So we set up a very ambitious strategy, a 10-year one, which is called Vision 2028. And our strategy is to become the UK's leading careers intensive university and to prepare our students for the jobs of the future. So that's our promise to you. And very briefly, we don't only have BSc in psychology, as many people think, but we have so many other courses, and all of them are very successful. You can find this on the website anyway. But we have, child psychology, clinical and community, criminology and psychology, forensic psychology. My favorite one, business psychology, which is also called occupational and organizational psychology. And if you're interested in that, please feel free to get in touch with me and I'll share a lot of information with you. And let me tell you that all our courses are fully accredited by the BPS, which is a sign of quality. And this means that we meet all the standards necessary for you guys. We also design the courses so that they are inclusive. So we record all our sessions we put them on Moodle so they can be easily accessible from all over the world. We design them so that they are inclusive in terms of culture, so everyone feels well accepted. They are inclusive in terms of gender and so on. So it's not only about differences in people that make them incapable, but also differences in people that can help them thrive. So this is what we do. And we are focused on something that is related to our 10-year strategy. And this is to develop professional fitness and mental wealth. This is embedded in all our modules, all our courses. And this is very important for you guys. We make sure that once you graduate, you're fully prepared to go out there and compete with everyone else on a global scale. So this is something I'm really proud of. But now I'll tell you what a UEL lecturer looks like, and I'll tell you very briefly about that. So probably you can see the picture of this miserable girl. This is me, 6 years old. It's a bit embarrassing, but I decided to put it there to show you how people can change. So I was 6 years old when I said to my mom, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference to this world. And because I couldn't, look at blood, and I really wanted to help people, but I couldn't do it by becoming a doctor, a physician. I said to my mom, you know what? I'm going to become a psychologist. This is how I'm going to make this world different. So I started dreaming, and I was only 6 years old. And of course, over time, I changed my mind. So they convinced me, everyone around me convinced me that this wasn't a good idea. So I would struggle because I was too emotional. And I decided to pursue a career in business administration. And then I acquired 5 different university degrees, which is something not to be proud of, honestly. It's a lifelong journey of learning. But, I was quite confused. I couldn't choose a career, and it was really hard for me. And I always had this passion in me. I was like, I want to help people. I don't want to only manage people. I wanted to help them. So there was this moment in time when I realized that I had to become a psychologist. This was my vocation. And it took me quite a while, to be honest, but I did it. And I can honestly tell you that this was the best decision ever, because this is what makes me happy, making other people happy. So not only do I consider myself a dreamer, but I'm also a fighter. So I don't know whether you see this. I have a facial malfunction. So because of that, as a child, I was bullied a lot. And I was really, I was an outsider. I was something that would sit in the corner quietly, not speaking to anyone because they would laugh at the way I looked. And there was this point in time, I still remember it clearly, when I said to myself, Sonia, you're not going to be a victim anymore. You will show the world what you can do. And you show the world how much love you had inside. So I decided to fight my way out, of my shell, sorry. And what happened was that I opened up and I showed the world how much I loved it. And this is how I got here, basically. Now I show all my students how much I love them. And I think this is what a UEL lecturer looks like. We are all fighters. We've had our, issues. We've had to overcome various obstacles in our lives. But we are here to be a part of this community and to help others, to help our students and to love them, really. And the third thing I can say about myself, because I'm really conscious of time, that is that I'm an adventurer. So I've worked in various domains across different European countries. I've never been to the States, which is something that I think that I'll correct very soon, because this is one of my favorite countries. So from this point of the miserable girl, you see the picture, I got to this point 35 years later. Now I have a lot of work experience in various roles, which I share with my students. And I think this is really beneficial because I share everything that I know, everything from my experience, everything, all the tools that I've acquired over time. I'm very happy to share them with my students. And as I said, I have 5 university degrees and I've won different awards. So you can see a picture of me getting one award for being the best lecturer at UEL, which is something I'm really proud of. But I honestly don't think I'm the best because everyone else at UEL is like me. So I think it's great. So this is what a UEL lecturer looks like. Let me show you what a UEL researcher looks like. This is about me, obviously. But a researcher at UEL, something that will help you become, is interested in many things and accomplishes a lot. So I'm interested, as you can see, all my interests are related to work because I'm a business psychologist, but I'm interested in empathy and how we apply it at work and whether it can be good for us, bad for us. It's something that I'm still inconclusive about. I'm interested in stress and burnout. I've experienced that, unfortunately, and maybe many of you have. But I think I'm an expert in burnout. So I help my students with every time they experience stress or burnout, I help them with that. And we have this excellent team at UEL who helps our students with their mental health issues. So we support everyone. I'm also interested in work schedule control and whether we can be more effective when we work in different schedules. So many things, guys. I'm also interested in entrepreneurialism and how, this sounds a bit idealistic, I know, but I'm interested in how we can use psychology to help solve poverty issues around the world by making everyone out there an entrepreneur. So basically how we can cultivate entrepreneurial traits in people. This is one of my interests. Another one is about psychological flexibility. This is a contemporary topic in psychology, and this is something that I use. I deliver a lot of workshops on that. I use this to help people understand how to deal with all the negative thoughts that they have and basically overcome all their anxiety and every hurdle that they have on their journey to happiness and success. Something that I'm really proud of. Also, very briefly, I'm interested in narcissistic traits in leaders and how we can help leaders become more effective without being narcissistic. And also AI, that stands for artificial intelligence. This is something that I'm really passionate about. So guys, if you join us, this is just a glimpse of everything that you'll learn. And I, as well as all my colleagues, are very happy to share this and everything we know with you. And finally, as a UEL student and graduate, I want to share what attracted me to UEL in the first place, because I know how hard it is to choose where to study. It's really, I still remember the time when I looked at the rankings, I looked at different tables, I checked so many different platforms and websites, and every university would, brag about something. But why did I choose UEL? First of all, because I had a meeting with some people from UEL and they looked so dynamic and I love the atmosphere there. And they offered me so many different experiences and the opportunity to connect to so many people, this huge network, not only of alumni, but employer network. I was just given, by the way, let me brag about that. I was just given an award for excellence in employee engagement. So this is something I'm really passionate about, helping our students with their careers. And we have the student union who organize something all the time. So it's really, really busy around here. And it's also fun. Our lectures are not, with these 5 degrees, I know what it feels like to attend a boring lecture when you just finish the lecture and you feel so tired and you feel like you wasted your time and your mind is totally blank. You don't remember anything. Our lectures are not like that. They are interactive, they are fun. We enjoy every minute of the lecture. And when I graduated, I realized that I was addicted to this place just because of that. These lovely people. Oh, by the way, the picture under the bullet point that says dynamic and fun, this is my teaching team. And I'm the one to your right in a very embarrassing position. But, yep. But, I couldn't find a better picture. So this is us. We are fun. And something else that made me feel really addicted to UEL is that there is a community, we support each other. And it doesn't matter how much time has passed, we keep in touch with each other. And I keep in touch with all my students, so we support each other. For example, yesterday, 3 of my students told me that they are graduates now, but they decided to set up a venture and have a company of their own, the 3 of them. And they wanted my help and my advice, and I will help them with my network, and I will help them with so much advice. And this is what happens at UEL. We support each other. And you can see it on the pictures. They are to your right. So These are some of my amazing students that I love very much. And this is a cake that they prepared for me. This was a surprise at the end of my modules. It said, "We appreciate you, Sonia." But it's just gorgeous to be at UEL. But I think I speak too much. So, Caitlin, over to you now.
Okay, thank you so much, Sonia.
You're very welcome. Sorry about speaking too much.
Away on your award. I didn't know that you won an award for employee engagement, but it's truly well deserved.
Oh, thank you so much.
You don't know already, Sonia is my favorite teacher that I've ever had at UEL. So without further ado, what I will do is, instead of answering every single question, I'll probably pick the most interesting ones to answer. Here, why did you initially select psychology? So similar to Sonia, I wanted to help people. It's something that I've always been very passionate about, but I didn't know what I wanted to do because there's so many different careers where you can actually help people. So I figured the best way to help people is to understand them. And so that's the reason why I picked psychology. I wanted to better understand people so that way I would be in a position where I could help them more. And I really think that UEL has done that for me. I think that I'm able to understand people a lot better now after completing my degree than when I first started it. So yeah, let's see. Should we move on to the next slide? I just know that there's a lot of questions.
Yep.
I want to answer every single one because we could talk about this for hours.
Yep, okay. I find them, all of them interesting, so okay.
Really interesting, and I'm probably going to say that about all the slides, but learning about personalities. There's this thing called 16 personalities. So if you want to learn about your personality type, you can just Google 16 personalities. I've listed my personality down below. So I have an ISFJ, or defender personality, which basically means that I care a lot about people and I would basically defend my loved ones. So for you guys, if you're interested in learning about this, I would definitely look it up after the presentation. I remember in a lecture with Mark, who is the program leader for our business psychology programs, he asked us if we knew what our personality types were. And no one knew, but I was like, I know, I'm an ISFJ. And he was like, oh, interesting. And it was like a super cool, like, nerd moment. Like, I was like the only one who knew what was going on. So it was like a huge pat on my back. But I think learning about personalities is really interesting. You learn a lot about yourself and how you deal with other people. So yeah, I think there's actually like a breakdown on the next slide. If we could go to that, please, Sonia. Yes, so when you take the test, it actually gives you a breakdown of your personality. So I think it's really interesting to see at the very top bar that I am literally both an introvert and an extrovert. So like 51% extroverted, 49% introverted. I thought that was really interesting. And I think that kind of defines who I am perfectly because I feel like I am both introverted and extroverted. I won't explain all of them, but
you know what, Caitlin? Can I just make a remark here? You know what? Psychology, this is one of the reasons I studied psychology. It helped me a lot to understand that even though we have a certain set of traits, we can be different. You know, if we want to become someone else, we want to, and it depends on us. And psychology helped me a lot to, you know, create this mindset and become the one who I wanted to be. So I see that you are pretty balanced. You've probably found the right balance. I don't know whether it's because of psychology or it's just who you are.
Maybe it's a combination of both. So I could spend all day talking about this. I think it's really interesting, and I would be super eager to hear what the breakdown of everyone's personality is. So definitely take this test after the webinar. I think it's very interesting. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yes, so soft skills acquired through studying psychology. We have this mental wealth module, and I think that, Sonia, you would probably know more about it, but I think the mental wealth module, students are going to be taking it to develop these soft skills.
So, can I say something?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. So, probably you don't know what mental wealth is. No one knew what it was until they told us. But this is something really good. So, mental wealth is about helping our students to acquire all the necessary soft skills so that they would be perfectly employable once they graduate. And based on a lot of research, we were able to identify various skills. You can see the graph here. You can see a lot of skills, but we also have 9 different components that every module that we design has to have these 9 different components, and then they will lead to mental wealth. So we make sure that whatever we do, we share our expertise, and we design, for example, the assessments in a way that can help you develop all the skills and competencies necessary for you to be successful when you graduate.
That's amazing. The mental wealth module is something that's brand new, so I didn't get the chance to take them, but I would be really excited to take these classes, and it's really exciting for everyone who's coming now because they're actually going to be taking these classes to develop their skills.
We got quite popular because of this. I think this is quite innovative, and they don't have it anywhere else. So I could see it in the media that this was making us popular.
Oh, that's really exciting, and I'm excited for everyone else. Can we slide, please?
Yep.
What interesting courses have you taken? Let me see. Oh, actually, on this slide, I would be really interested in hearing Sonia answer how psychology and business courses intersect.
Oh, I have so many things to tell you guys. So this is again a part of my story. So this is how I started. Everyone was telling me that with psychology. So I was probably like 15 years old, and I was so passionate about psychology. I would read these books related to self-development, personal growth, and so on all the time. But everyone around me would tell me, oh, this is too hard, psychology, to listen to other people's problems all the time. And you shouldn't do that. And I made the mistake of listening to them. So I did a BSc in business administration, 4 years of my life. And then I started working as a manager in various industries. And, I was successful. I was earning a lot of money, but I wasn't happy. And that's the thing. What you do has to be meaningful to you. And for me, what was meaningful was psychology. So I did another BSc, and it was in psychology. And this is how, how I realized that I could actually combine these two. Then I did a master's in psychology of personality because I just found it fascinating. But I was, very interested to find out how I could combine these two, all my knowledge from business administration and management and psychology, and actually apply this. I tried being a counselor, but I'm too empathetic, and I would cry with my clients. It was a disaster. So I was no good at that, and decided to become a business psychologist. So this is how I combine these two, and here I am.
Perfect. Should we go to the next slide?
Sure.
Okay. Where have you excelled in your major? Actually, so I studied clinical psychology because I thought mental health was one of the most important aspects of psychology. But in the places where I think I've excelled the most were the classes that focused on business psychology. So for example, Sonia's class, I took a class with her in my final year, and I absolutely loved it. And I
So happy
remember
to hear that.
in my second year, I took my first kind of business module. I think it was psychological perspectives on work experience, where I basically did a placement, and I just wrote about my experience and about my observations. I did my placement in the international office, so I was writing a paper, basically an evaluation on my colleagues because I work with them now. And I think to this day, that was the highest score that I ever got on a paper. I got a, and I was just completely blown away because
Well done.
the paper in one day. um,
Wow.
I was in California and I was meeting prospective students. And I said, okay, I can meet a prospective student and tell them all about UEL, or I can write about my paper that's due in a few days. And so I ended up preparing a 7-page paper for this student that I didn't have to do, but I wanted to do that because I wanted him to know everything about UEL before actually going to UEL. I wanted him to be informed, like well informed, so that he was sure he was making the right decision. And the meeting went well. He's now one of my interns in the office. He's studying business administration. And then right after our meeting, I worked on my paper. I just locked myself in my room and I worked for like 8 hours straight, probably just working on my paper. And I got a really good grade on it. And I was just completely blown away.
Wow. That's impressive.
Thank
Can
you.
you please answer one of the questions? Because I think it's really interesting. Are you a master statistician?
No, I am awful at math. That is one of the reasons why I chose to study at UEL, because we don't require general education. So in America, when you go to university, regardless of your degree, you have to take English, math, science, history, everything. Whereas at UEL, you will only study your chosen subject. So if you study psychology, you'll only be studying psychology classes. You're not taking English or math. And with psychology, there is a bit of math involved, but it's not too much. So the only statistics are really involved that I experienced was when writing lab reports.
But we'll help you anyway. You
Of
know,
course. Yeah.
I still remember when I started my first BSc, I was terrible at that. You know, research and research methods. I was terrible at that. And it took some time for me, but I didn't have the support back then. It took some time for me to learn these things, but now I know exactly how to support the students. I literally grab them by the hand and go this journey with them.
No,
I'm a bit of a control freak, so I chase my students like, do you understand that?
no, and that's like one of the things that I admire about you as a teacher. I really enjoyed the class that I had with you. I went to every
Oh, thank
single
you.
one except for the final class. So the final
I
class right before
remember that.
break, and I was just
We
like,
missed you.
I know, I felt so bad. I remember coming to you. I was like, Sonia, I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna miss class. Is that okay? What am I going to miss? I want to make sure I don't get behind. And you offered to Skype with me when I was home to help me prepare for my exam. And I think that really shows one example of how the UEL teachers go above and beyond for their students.
Yeah, we are a family. That's why what I always tell my students on their first day when they join us and we have the inductions. I tell them, welcome to my family. And because we are a family, we support each other. That's, very important to me.
Should we
Oh,
go slide?
yep.
Okay. Honest answers about studying psychology. I think the only areas that bored me, because I know that all of the students would be really interested to hear this. I think it depends on what subjects you enjoy. But for me, I wouldn't necessarily say something bored me, but I did struggle with my neuroscience subjects. So studying the brain. Some people love that. Some people love studying about the brain, studying neuroscience. But whenever we talked about neuroscience, I was just like, I don't know what's going on. So that was probably the only place where I really struggled, and that's just me because it's always been like that. Even in high school when we would talk about the brain, there's just so much to remember. There's a lot going on, so that's probably the one place that I probably struggled with in psychology.
Uh-huh. I can help you with that. uh, my honest answer to this one is that I like everything in psychology. It's so fascinating. When you find something fascinating, you remember it. It just happens like that. And I still remember when I studied neuropsychology. This is a bit embarrassing, but I literally disassembled the brain. I bought some parts, body parts of the shop. It was from a lamb, and I disassembled its brain to see what the parts were, and I found it so fascinating. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely more not my brain, it's a lamb's brain, but it's fascinating.
Mm,
So it depends.
yeah. Should we go to the next slide?
Yep.
Ooh, I think these are, Sonia, I'm probably going to let you pick if there's any questions that you want to answer here, because these are more tailored to a teacher.
Okay, so, so I'm a business psychologist, so probably you expect me to tell you that my favorite classes are related to business psychology. But based on my recent, activities, I think that now my favorite thing to do, and a class that I would love to deliver to everyone, is about psychological flexibility. This is something amazing. Just a brief example. I think that everyone has these negative thoughts, and it's not only me who thinks that, it's research that says it. But you can easily identify with the imposter syndrome when you think, oh, you know what, they're gonna laugh at me, I'm no good, I'm a loser, I'm a fraud, and so on. And these thoughts really impede our success. And we can do so many things around that. It's something that I gladly share with my students, and we have one-to-one conversations, but sometimes I organize group workshops too, to help them develop psychological flexibility and just befriend these thoughts. Stop fighting with them. And this is what really helps. And I've seen the change. This is what helped me. And I've seen many of my students change and become really confident, really successful. We have graduates who work in Google, and one of my students leads 2,500 people. Can you imagine?
That's a lot of people.
I know, a lot of people. He's responsible for them, and he used to be my student, and he used to be so, he wasn't confident, he lacked self-esteem, and I helped him develop the psychological flexibility. So if I have to answer the question honestly, this will be the class. Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. We should do that like at UEL when they
Yeah.
redesign classes, have Sonia lead on this module.
Oh, happy to be everywhere.
So we're coming just before 5 p.m. So I don't know if we want to answer these last questions or if we want to take questions from the audience. I'm happy to do either.
Let's see if there are any questions.
I would suggest going ahead with these questions. There might be one or two that pop up.
Okay.
So,
yep. What about
the first one, and then Sonia, you can answer the last one.
Yep.
So how do you plan to convey the value of your psychology major to future employees if it's not related? So actually, I'm in the perfect kind of position to answer this because I work in recruitment, but I did study psychology, and a lot of times people are like, how did you end up in recruitment? But I think for me personally, studying psychology has definitely helped me. Working in recruitment, it's really important to be able to communicate effectively and to understand and cater to the needs of your client. So, and I think psychology has definitely helped me. It's put me in a position where I'm better able to do that now. I know when I first started, I kind of fell into recruitment by accident. And I guess I was like okay at communicating with people, but I think over time, I kind of understood where people were coming from a bit better. And I'm in a position now where, yeah, I just know how to talk to people. I know what's going through their mind. I like to put myself in a place where I can relate to the person I'm speaking to. And I think that definitely goes a long way in terms of communication.
Wow, well done. To be honest, this is exactly how I use psychology. You know, before I knew anything about it, I was, I was literally an outsider. But then I started reading these books and I found that I could use psychology, to actually do something in my life. Not only help others, help myself. And this is how I landed on my first job as a manager without any prior experience. This was just because I knew a lot of things about psychology. I didn't have the education then, but I would read so many books all the time, and I knew that psychology was the key. So, to me, if I want to explain what the value of psychology is to an employer, I would say that, every job in this world involves a certain type of interaction, social interaction, and this is all psychology. And every job in this world involves people, and this is all psychology. So psychology is everywhere, and we can use it all the time. That's what I do, at least.
So, Sonia, what would you say to someone who is maybe hesitant or thinking of taking a business psychology course?
Yep. So first of all, I've been thinking about that, so I was in the same position. When I had to choose a master's in occupational psychology, first of all, I was like, do I want to do a master's or not? And then it was a matter of, first of all, getting more knowledge, become an expert in that. And then the third one was to get more money. So obviously having a master's will land you on a better job. But why occupational and organizational psychology? This is basically business psychology. Because if you are like me, so really empathetic, someone who wants to help the world but just can't live with people's problems. I suffer with people, so I really found it hard to listen to people's problems on a daily basis. And I realized that I could apply all the knowledge that I had from psychology to the world of work and help the whole world, basically, because almost everyone works. I could help them without being exposed to a lot of problems, and I could make everyone happy out there. So for me, occupational and organizational psychology was about scope. So instead of helping 3 clients a day, I could help 1,000 people just with one intervention. And it was as easy as that. Why occupational psychology? Because it's well paid. That's another reason. So you can work this globally. As you are aware, this COVID-19 crisis is everywhere. And there will be, mark my words, there will be a global economical crisis. And business psychologists will be in great demand because we are the ones to help organizations survive in this process and to help people thrive. You know? So will be in demand, and that's the answer, a master's in occupational and organizational psychology.
Drops mic.
Yep.
Anna, do we have questions from the audience?
We have one question, and this is directed to both of you. Could you both tell me in 3 words how you would describe a UEL experience? So Caitlin, from your own perspective, and Sonia from more of a professor's perspective. If you had to describe it in 3 words, how would you sum it up?
As a student, I would say fun, fast, and stressful. But that's just a student.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Caitlin.
So as a lecturer, I would say expert, supportive, and career.
Wonderful. And then we've just had another question come in, and Sonia, maybe you'd be able to help out with this one. I know you've touched on it in this presentation, but if you could just touch on it once again. The student is asking how psychology is useful in business.
Oh, so this is about business psychology. So imagine an organization. What is an organization? It's a group of people, right? So if it's a group of people, then each of them has their own mentality. And we use psychology to understand people and how they work together in organizations. So we address various issues at an individual or a team level or an organizational level, so as a whole. And these are all psychological issues. And I'll give you 3 very brief examples for each of these. So in terms of individual issues, there might be stress in the workplace, for example, resilience in the workplace, workloads, and so on. The second one is about teams and how well they can work together. So this is about conflict management, for example, or leadership, and so on. There are many, many topics in business psychology. And finally, if we address organizational issues as a whole, this is about, for example, organizational culture or organizational change, something that all organizations are going through at the moment. And this is where we come as organizational psychologists. So we help organizations, implement different interventions and make sure that everyone is on board. So we try, there are certain models that we follow, and we make people understand the benefits of the change and accept it. Okay.
That's great. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. And that's all the questions on our end from the attendees. So I just wanted to wrap up the presentation now and just extend my thanks to both of you, Sonia and Caitlin, for giving some really interesting insight into how you both found, well, your own experience as a student, but also a bit more information about the UEL experience. And I want to thank all of our attendees on the line who have joined us today. We have a series of webinars over the next couple of weeks. So we'll be speaking to lecturers in journalism, in business, so various different sectors. And we'd love it if you join us for those particular webinars. But for now, it's a goodbye from us, and we hope to be able to have you join us again in the near future.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sonia, and thank you, Annabelle.
I want to thank you too. And I hope I can see you in person.
Yeah.
Thank you all.